There comes a time in life, especially after the age of 60, when the noise of the world begins to feel louder, more distracting, and often more draining. We find ourselves entangled in misunderstandings, judgments, or expectations from others that shake our sense of peace. But what if we told you that your peace is not something others can give or take away? That true peace is found in letting go, not in changing others, but in changing how we respond. In this video, we explore the profound Buddhist path of reclaiming your inner stillness by simply learning to ignore what does not serve your spiritual growth. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering is born not from external events but from our attachments and reactions. Mindfulness, compassion, and non-attachment offer us a way out. When we ignore what is unnecessary, be it hurtful words, ego-driven debates, or emotional traps, we begin to see clearly, think calmly, and live peacefully. We will walk together through 5 deeply meaningful teachings that explain why most conflicts are fueled by ego, how silence becomes a source of power, when to speak with compassion and when to remain quiet, how to disarm conflict through Buddhist strategies, and how an unshakable mind becomes your greatest freedom in old age. These are not theories but time-tested truths from the Dhamma, meant to be lived and experienced. If you are over 60, or simply ready to embrace a life of inner peace, this video is for you. We invite you to reflect, listen gently, and absorb these insights as you might listen to the soft breeze through a forest, with openness, humility, and peace. Let us begin with the first reflection in this journey toward inner peace and clarity: why most conflicts are fueled by ego, not truth. In the teachings of the Buddha, ego, the deeply rooted attachment to the idea of self, is not only a source of illusion but also the root cause of much of our daily suffering. It is the ego that feels wounded when someone speaks sharply, the ego that demands to be seen, heard, validated, and praised. In truth, many of the conflicts we face, especially as we grow older, are not about moral right or wrong, but about pride, about protecting that fragile concept of I, me, and mine. We may believe we are defending justice, but often we are just defending identity. The Buddha, in his deep wisdom, said, "Victory breeds hatred. The defeated live in pain. Happily the peaceful live, giving up victory and defeat." This quote is not just poetic, it is practical guidance. Consider the true story of Margaret, a retired schoolteacher from Oregon, who spent decades serving her community with kindness and devotion. In her 70s, she found herself in conflict with her daughter over the division of family property. Hurtful words were exchanged, old grievances resurfaced, and the relationship began to crumble. Margaret initially tried to set things right by repeatedly explaining her side, defending her decisions, and seeking support from other family members. But the more she tried to be understood, the more tension grew. One day, reflecting during her early morning meditation, she recalled a Dhamma talk she once heard at a local temple, which emphasized that clinging to being right is just another form of suffering. That day, Margaret decided to stop responding with justifications. She stopped trying to win. Instead, she started listening quietly, speaking only when necessary, and letting go of her need to prove her truth. Over time, her calmness softened her daughter's defensiveness. Without blame or lecture, Margaret reclaimed peace not by winning an argument, but by releasing the ego that needed to win. Her story is not unique, it echoes the wisdom the Buddha offered over 2,500 years ago, that inner peace begins the moment we stop feeding the fire of ego. When we choose to ignore others in moments of conflict, it is not a sign of weakness or apathy. It is a mature choice, rooted in self-awareness and mindfulness. Like a calm lake that reflects the sky without distortion, a mind untouched by ego can see truth more clearly. Imagine 2 men shouting in a public square, their faces red with anger, their hands gesturing wildly. Each one wants to be heard, each wants to be right. Now picture a monk walking past silently, his gaze soft, his mind undisturbed. That monk is not ignoring the world, he is choosing peace. He understands that ego-driven battles are endless and empty. He knows that protecting his peace is more valuable than protecting his pride. When we understand that most arguments arise not from truth, but from the bruised pride of people who are scared, uncertain, or feeling unseen, our hearts soften. We begin to see that the other person is not the enemy, but simply another human being clinging to identity and fear. And in that moment of recognition, compassion arises naturally. Compassion is not always loud or expressive. Sometimes, it is quiet. Sometimes, it is the simple decision not to engage, not to argue, not to react. Ignoring someone's harsh words, in this light, becomes an act of deep spiritual discipline. It is not passive, it is a form of active peacekeeping. It is choosing non-attachment, choosing not to allow someone else's storm to enter your mind. This is not suppression, it is freedom. So the next time someone speaks harshly or unfairly to you, especially in your later years, when peace of mind becomes more valuable than ever, pause. Ask yourself, is this truly worth your energy? Is it truth speaking within you, or is it ego? If it is ego, then let it dissolve. Reclaim your stillness. Reclaim your clarity. Choose the way of the Buddha, not to fight for the fleeting satisfaction of being right, but to live with the enduring peace of being free. That is the heart of Buddhist wisdom. That is the path to aging with grace, to finding peace of mind, and to nurturing spiritual growth in a noisy world. Now let us gently move into the second reflection on our path to peace and mindfulness, how silence can be your greatest strength. In a world where quick responses and loud opinions are often celebrated, silence may seem like weakness or passivity. But through the lens of Buddhist wisdom, silence is something much deeper. It is presence, awareness, and clarity. It is not a void to be filled, but a space where truth quietly resides. The Buddha himself often answered with silence, not because he had no reply, but because the question itself was shaped by confusion or ego. His silence was a form of teaching. He once said, "Silence is better than meaningless words," and in that simple phrase lies a powerful lesson for all of us, especially those who have walked many years on this earth and now seek peace over pride. As we grow older, the strength of silence becomes more apparent. We begin to realize that not every accusation deserves an answer, not every disagreement requires a defense. When someone speaks with anger, harshness, or misunderstanding, our silence can be a mirror. It reflects their energy back to them without adding fuel to the fire. It offers space for reflection, space for the other person to hear their own words more clearly, and space for our own mind to settle into stillness. This silence is not an absence, but a sacred presence. Like the stillness of a forest at dawn, where birds sing, leaves rustle, and life stirs quietly beneath a great stillness, your silence can hold everything without reacting to anything. When someone criticizes you unfairly and you choose not to respond, you are not ignoring them in contempt, you are choosing to protect your peace. You are offering them a moment to pause, to feel their own discomfort without your resistance. This is not weakness. It is restraint. It is spiritual discipline in action. The Buddha taught that it is better to speak one word that brings peace than 1,000 hollow ones. And sometimes, the most peaceful word is no word at all. When we practice this kind of silence, what Buddhism calls noble silence, we are not stepping back from life, we are stepping deeper into awareness. We are training the mind to be still, to listen without reacting, to observe without judgment. And in that stillness, the heart opens. Compassion grows. Clarity sharpens. We begin to understand that true strength is not in proving our point, but in maintaining our inner calm. To be silent does not mean to suppress truth, it means to carry truth with such dignity that it doesn't need defense. So the next time life tests your patience, when someone says something that touches your ego or challenges your peace, pause. Let your silence say, "I do not need to win this moment to feel whole. I do not need to react to be strong. I do not need to explain to be understood." With time and gentle practice, this noble silence becomes your shield and your sanctuary, a place of refuge where mindfulness deepens, non-attachment blossoms, and the great inner peace the Buddha spoke of becomes your own unshakable reality. Now we turn to the third truth in our journey of peace: when to speak and when to stay quiet. In Buddhism, this balance is not about silence for its own sake or speaking merely to be heard. It is about right speech, a principle within the Noble Eightfold Path, which teaches that our words should be truthful, kind, timely, and beneficial. The goal is not to suppress our voice, but to use it with wisdom. Sometimes, saying the right thing at the wrong time causes harm, while silence, offered with compassion, becomes healing. The Buddha once illustrated this through a powerful encounter with a wandering ascetic named Bharadvaja, who was known for his arrogance and harsh speech. One day, Bharadvaja approached the Buddha and, filled with rage, began verbally attacking him, spewing insults without restraint. The Buddha sat quietly and did not interrupt. After a long moment of silence, he gently responded, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" Bharadvaja, puzzled, replied, "To the one who offered it." The Buddha then said, "In the same way, I do not accept your anger and abuse. It remains with you." This story is not merely about staying silent, but about responding with mindfulness and clarity. The Buddha did not react in anger or argue back. He waited for the moment when his words would carry the weight of wisdom, not emotion. His words were kind, timely, and deeply beneficial. This is the heart of right speech: not to dominate, but to liberate; not to prove, but to teach; not to react, but to respond mindfully. As we age, we begin to feel this truth more deeply. We learn that some battles are not worth fighting, some arguments are rooted more in ego than truth, and that real strength lies in stillness. When someone speaks to us with harshness or misunderstanding, we pause and ask, "Is my voice needed here, or is silence more powerful?" Like the Buddha with Bharadvaja, our goal is not to win, but to rise above. In our own lives, especially in later years, we've all seen that most hearts are not changed by debate, but by presence. We begin to understand that each word has weight, and with that weight comes responsibility. A soft word spoken with compassion can ease years of tension. A loud word said in anger can create years of it. So we speak not with urgency, but with clarity. We listen more than we talk. We ask ourselves, will these words create peace? Will they help or harm? Sometimes, we must speak, especially when silence would allow injustice or pain to continue. But even then, we speak with care, not as a sword, but as a balm. When words are not needed, we offer our silence like a blessing. Silence is not weakness, it is presence. It is the space where true understanding can arise. As the Buddha said, "Speak only when your words are more beautiful than silence." Imagine carrying this as your guide, letting it shape your conversations, your relationships, and your peace of mind. Whether we choose to speak or remain silent, each choice becomes a reflection of our inner growth. It is a daily meditation, on patience, on compassion, on self-restraint. So let our words, when they come, be like gentle rain nourishing the soil, and let our silences be like still water, reflecting wisdom. In this way, we live the Buddha's teaching, not just in what we say, but in when we choose not to say anything at all. Let us now explore the fourth truth in our path to inner peace: practical Buddhist strategies to deactivate conflict. Conflict, as the Buddha understood deeply, arises when two minds meet without harmony, when understanding is lost and ego takes control. Even in the Buddha's own time, disagreements would occasionally arise among the monks. Instead of ignoring these situations, the Buddha approached them with compassion and wisdom, offering practical, timeless strategies to restore balance and clarity. One of the first methods he taught was wise reflection. Before we react, we are asked to pause and examine the source of our intention. Is this coming from anger, fear, or wisdom? That single breath of awareness can be the difference between peace and regret. The second method is the cultivation of metta bhavana, loving-kindness meditation. By sending thoughts of goodwill and compassion not just to friends but also to those with whom we have difficulty, we change the very energy we bring into the world. The Buddha clearly said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love, this is the eternal law." The third approach is the use of noble silence. In moments of tension, gossip, blame, and defensive speech only inflame the fire. Choosing silence with presence, not avoidance, creates space for peace to emerge naturally. A fourth strategy is beautifully illustrated in the well-known story of the Buddha and the angry man. When the man hurled insults at the Buddha, the Blessed One remained calm and unmoved. Later, he gently explained, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" In the same way, when we refuse to accept someone's anger, it remains with them. This does not mean we suppress our emotions, but rather that we choose not to take on the burden of another's suffering. Fifth, the Buddha taught the practice of equanimity. He reminded us that others' actions are a reflection of their inner struggles, not of our worth. When we stop taking things personally, we stop reacting and begin responding with compassion. Sixth, he advised us to be mindful of our company, avoid those who cause harm and confusion. Seek out those who live with mindfulness and compassion. Being around wise and calm individuals nourishes our inner peace and strengthens our ability to respond wisely. And seventh, the Buddha urged us always to keep our focus inward. No matter how others behave, our peace does not depend on their approval or apology, it depends on the clarity and calm within our own mind. True resolution comes not from overpowering others but from disarming our own reactions. Conflict does not end through victory, it ends when we stop feeding it with our own energy. These 7 strategies, reflection, loving kindness, noble silence, wise non-reaction, equanimity, mindful company, and inner focus, are not just methods for avoiding arguments, they are tools for transforming every challenge into a doorway toward spiritual growth. By practicing them, we learn not only how to resolve tension with others but also how to deepen peace within ourselves. Let us now arrive at the final insight in this journey, the freedom of an unshakable mind in old age. As the body gradually slows down with time, there arises a quiet opportunity for the mind to grow stronger, wiser, and more rooted in peace than ever before. In Buddhism, the mind that is unshaken by praise or blame, success or failure, gain or loss is known as upekkha, equanimity. This is not cold indifference but a deep, radiant calm born from insight and compassion. The Buddha often compared this mental stability to a mountain, solid and unmoved even when storms rage around it. This truth can be beautifully seen in the story of 82-year-old Joan Halifax, a Zen Buddhist teacher and anthropologist from New Mexico. After decades of activism, spiritual teaching, and care for the dying, Joan now moves slower, speaks softer, and smiles more. In one of her final public talks, she shared how she used to think her power came from doing, organizing events, writing books, advocating for the voiceless. But with age, she learned that her greatest power was in simply being. Being fully present with someone in silence, holding space without fixing, and responding to life's chaos with unwavering inner stillness. One story she told was of sitting beside a terminally ill man in hospice care. He was angry, restless, and fearful. Joan said nothing, just breathed slowly and remained at his side. After some time, he began to cry, not out of pain, but from the peace her presence gave him. She said, "In that moment, I knew, true strength is not what you do, but how deeply you're able to be." This illustrates the very heart of an unshakable mind. Just like the elderly monk who once said, "When I was young, I tried to change the world. Now I simply watch the breath." Many elders come to see that peace does not come from control, it arises from surrender to the present moment. A mind like this no longer seeks to prove, to argue, or to win. It is content simply being awake and kind. It listens more and speaks less, not out of weariness, but out of wisdom. Think of a candle inside a glass lantern. The winds of life may roar outside, losses, health issues, loneliness, but the flame remains steady. This is the reward of a life practiced in mindfulness, meditation, and the Noble Eightfold Path. As the Dhammapada reminds us, as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by praise or blame. This mental clarity is the treasure of old age, not found in material wealth or worldly success, but in the ability to remain peaceful in the face of uncertainty. So if you are over 60, know this: your greatest strength may be blooming right now. Let go of past regrets that you cannot change. Release the grip of future fears that have not come. Step away from the weight of other people's opinions. And rest in the light of your own quiet mind. Because that is not weakness. That is freedom. That is the gift of spiritual maturity, and it is what the Buddha gently offered. A path not to escape life, but to live it fully, peacefully, and unshaken. As we come to the end of this journey together, let us take a moment to sit in stillness and gently return to the heart of what we've explored: how to protect our peace, speak with purpose, and cultivate an unshakable mind, especially in the later seasons of life. You don't need to be a monk, nor retreat to a forest hermitage to begin living the Buddha's wisdom. True transformation begins with small, daily decisions, choosing not to react when provoked, letting go of what no longer serves your soul, pausing before speaking, and remembering that silence can often be more powerful than words. This is the art of living with inner freedom. The Buddha never asked us to control the world, he simply taught us how to master our minds. As the body ages, this mental strength becomes the source of real peace. Reflect for a moment: how many times today did your emotions get pulled by someone else's words or energy? How many moments could have been saved if you had simply returned to your breath? Now imagine how powerful your life can become when you stop giving your peace away. Imagine waking up not to noise and distraction, but to stillness and clarity. You already have that power within you. And each time you choose peace over drama, compassion over judgment, observation over reaction, that power deepens. Let the Buddha's timeless teachings be your compass. Let mindfulness become your daily companion, and compassion the language of your life. As we close this video, breathe deeply and allow yourself to be still. There is nothing to prove. No one to impress. You are enough, just as you are. You are not here to win arguments, you are here to discover freedom, understanding, and the kind of peace that cannot be shaken by age or the changing world. If this message has touched your heart, we warmly invite you to subscribe to Mindful Pathway Media, where each video is crafted with love to support your inner journey. Share this video with someone you care about, a friend, a parent, a partner, someone who may be carrying silent burdens and searching for peace. And most importantly, we want to hear from you. In the comments below, please share your thoughts. What spoke to you today? Do you have a story from your own life, perhaps a time when silence was your strength, or a moment when choosing peace changed everything? Your reflections may help someone else feel seen, understood, and less alone. This space is not just a channel, it is a community of kind souls walking the path of mindfulness together. Let's grow by learning from one another. Let your voice bring light, and your story become a part of this shared journey. Thank you deeply for spending this time with us. May you walk forward with serenity, clarity, and kindness in your heart. May you be well. May you be free. May you be at peace.